Okay. Hello. We're here for Sir Chonk.
Hello. It is I, Sir Chonk. I don't remember the last time I did a video. Was it the video game one? That was like months ago.
Yeah, when I was just getting out of the hospital.
Sweet. Yeah, so I guess Golden Trail's telling me I gotta do a recap of all the books I read, which is not that many books. So I can't imagine anyone, including myself, would possibly care about this recap. But, sometimes you get trapped underneath a fridge.
Quarter 3 or something of books.
Yeah, or you get hit by Petrificus totalis or something like that, and YouTube gets stuck on something, and then, here's the video. So sorry you're frozen for whatever reason, but here we go.
You fall down a set of stairs.
Wind up in a jazz club that's playing my video. Right, of course. So anyway, I guess I'll talk about some books I read. Sorry I didn't like anything, because I don't like anything, because I'm kind of a jerk. All right.
Okay.
What do we got? Oh, The Good Shepherd. I kind of like this. So, this is just like a submarine movie.
It's a book.
It's a submarine book. Great. Jeez. It's also a submarine movie. But more importantly,
right?
Yeah, it's a book. And it's actually really, really redundant. And I feel like a lot of people would probably hate that about this book. Because it's constantly the dude being turn 17 degrees to port. And they repeat the order. And then he goes, turn somewhere else. And it's just him shouting turn orders for 17 pages. And this happens a whole bunch of times. And they go, oh, shoot, we lost the sub. It's why did I just read all that? Nothing happened. But for some reason, I like it. I can't imagine there's too many people that do like this book. But I really liked it. I love submarine naval battle junk, and this has quite a bit of that. I don't know how authentic it is, because I ain't never been to no naval battle, but I certainly did enjoy it. I think I gave it 4 stars. But I can't recommend it to anyone unless you're also totally obsessed with naval battles, and with the caveat that it might not also be super realistic. I'm really not sure.
I thought it was based on actual fact.
No, it's based on an actual event. It's not based on actual facts. There are other ones that when you bought me recently, the HMS
Ulysses.
Pupelschnarzer,
Ulysses.
That one I think is based on an actual event by an actual naval pilot.
Oh.
This is just a guy that is a huge fan of it. He actually may have been in the Navy, but I don't think he was a pilot. Or I forget what his deal is. I think he has some tertiary connection to naval stuff, but doesn't actually have any experience. But I might be wrong.
Well, you like the book.
Anyway, it was fun. Although I feel like most people would not like it.
Okay, so then you read.
Oh, Nighty Nightmare, one of the many delightful Bunnicula books. Even though Bunnicula doesn't really appear in any of them. I don't tell you, man, these are fun. They're kind of witty. They get progressively less witty as the series goes on, but I still kind of like them. I like that goofy cat. He's funny. So these are fun. It takes about 11 minutes to read these. So that's always nice.
All right, and then we're waiting to find. Oh, there we go.
Oh, Storm of the Century. So this is kind of cool. I'm sure you probably already know about this if you're a human. This is a screenplay more so than a novel. So it reads basically reads like a play. But a lot of the stage action is in there. So, it reads like a script more so even in a play. So if you've ever put on a play and you've read an original script, you see the director notes. They're in here too. So it's Ed walks up north towards street, pauses at stairs, should seem distressed, wearing trench coat, that kind of stuff. But anyway, think about this book. I love people trapped and I love stormy weather. That's what we got here. A bunch of people trapped in a stormy situation. The first third of this I really love because I absolutely love the setup. It's not like it's even that original, but I'm obsessed with this kind of junk. So I absolutely adore the first third of this. The middle third is not bad. You got some of the cool trapped character dynamics that Stephen King is good at. Some of the characters are annoying, but they're supposed to be. That's okay. The thing that bothers me, it's a little bit too much. Hey, Daddy's first kid book. I hate that thing where a writer, and I don't even know if this is the case at this time. It might have been when a writer has a kid for the first time, or
I don't think so. His kids are 60 years old.
Yeah, so probably is the case for him. But and they write about kids like it's the only important thing in the world, and that thing like really just annoys the crap out of me. Maybe just because I hate children. But anyway,
He's a teacher.
yeah, but that's okay. I can still teach them. I tell them I hate them. They know. So anyway, that irked me a little bit, but the ending kind of falls apart a little bit. It's actually not as bad as I thought it was, because I watched the show when it came out a billion years ago, when it was like first airing, and I remember really enjoying it at first and then kind of thinking the ending sucked. But I feel like in the book, the ending, although not good, it's not as bad as I thought it was. So I forget what I gave this, but I definitely liked it.
This is next.
Oh, they have Song of the Dark Druid, which is another classic choose your own. Is this a Rose Estes one?
No, this is by Joe. I think this is Josepha Sherman.
Joe Choderson.
Josepha Sherman.
Josepha Sherman. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know who that is, but he wrote this book. There's this dark druid. He's singing and stuff. It's classic choose your adventure. You gotta like do some stuff, and you're probably gonna get. Although I think you don't die that many times in this one. If your wrong choice, it's kind of like loop you back into the story, which is like kind of like a cheap move. I like the ones that murder the crap out of you when you get stuff wrong. But this is still pretty fun. It's like classic D&D style kind of thing. All right, now we have more Bunnicula. Oh, Return to Holiday Inn. I loved Holiday Inn in the first one because it was kind of like a closed door mystery kind of thing, and this is kind of the same type of deal. So again, it's fun. It's like a bunch of animals solving a mystery. What else do you want in life?
Sir Chonk is sick.
Yeah, ignore that.
So.
Okay. Oh, and then I guess I kept on my Bunnicula kick. Is this probably the last one? Oh, no,
so.
No, there's one more. This is Bunnicula Strikes Again.
This time he actually does something?
I'm trying to remember. I don't think so.
Oh,
he almost never shows up.
Just lock up your artichokes.
Oh, that's right. He starts murdering vegetables again, but like they don't show him doing it. He does do a couple things in the last one with Edgar Allan Crow. Is that the next one I have?
I don't know. We'll find out.
I think so. Cause I think I just I was just like, screw it. So I finally decided I'm just going to read the rest of these because again, you read them really fast and they're fun and I like them. They're like for kids, but I don't care. They're kind of funny and I love animals. So give me some animals doing some stuff and I'm going to have fun with it. And Edgar Allan Crow, you son of a bitch. Oh, this has a really weird guy in it. That's right. The owner of Edgar Allan Crow is like kind of a weird creeper guy, but that's okay.
Holiday Inn was actually surprisingly dark and violent. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, the first like two are the best two. They're like really good. They're like actually good stories. The other one is just kind of like fun and light. But like the first two actually like I think qualify as like legitimate. There's no kids books, but like they're kids books with, like good plots.
And then you read the last of the 12.
Oh, right. So I had to read the 12 books of Coleridge Girl. I read the first 11 all in January. And then I didn't read this till like the summertime because this book is like super long and super annoying. And I clawed my way through this. And about 10% of this book is about this sort of like creepy stuff happening in this house. And that part's pretty good. But the rest of the book is a pile of absolute dog shit. A bunch of pretentious nonsense. And I don't remember if I gave this a 1.
No, you said it was 2, I think.
I gave it a 2, really, only because the 10% saved it from being a 1. Because, like, the 90% of this book I hated. It's like, it's got you, like, flipping books upside down and stuff, and, like, reading stuff sideways. Like, that's not a book. That's just, like, you're trying to be a jerk.
I love this book.
No, I hated it.
It's so unique.
I hated it so much.
Right.
Like, I don't mind things, like, I don't know. I guess, like, if things being unique just for the sake of being unique, but its uniqueness doesn't bring anything other than, hey, aren't I different?
I can't get it out of my head. It like always stuck with me, so I don't know.
Yeah, it stuck with me is like, a snot stuck in the back of your nose.
All right.
Can't get it out of there. You have to do the snot rocket.
Anyway, you sound like the former president right now with your nonsense.
I was making a perfect metaphor.
Okay.
Or was it a simile?
Anyway, the next book.
Okay, so I read Faithful by Stephen King and, of course, Stuart Onan. I guess everyone knows who that is. He's the guy who used to work for, it wasn't even the Red Sox. It was like the Cubs or some shit, something I forget exactly. Anyway, two baseball fans. What's interesting about this book is they decided before the start of 2004 season, they were going to like document their experience of the 2004 season from the start of like spring training and everything else. And it just so happens the Red Sox.
Broke the curse?
Yeah, and it just so happens the Red Sox won the World Series for the first time in, it was 86 years. Like the year they decided, crazy. It's not like they do this every year. Like, no, they've never done this before. They just picked this year, probably because like the year before was like that incredibly like heartbreaking freaking Game 7 loss. Like, Jesus, what a nightmare that was. But anyway, this was, so if you don't really love baseball and you don't really love the Red Sox, I don't know why the hell you would waste your time reading this book. Because it's literally a bunch of game scripts. There's a few like Stephen King-y like anecdotes dropped in about what he's up to, but that stuff's boring as hell anyway. But it's just like a million game stories about the season, which I already sat through the entire season when it happened, so I already know a lot of the stuff. But like, I just enjoyed reliving it because obviously I'm a huge Red Sox fan, so it was fun to relive all the stuff. And I'm also a huge like fan of like sports minutia and endless statistics. So I don't mind constantly reading about Euclid going 1 for 2 with 2 walks, like in a random like game 36 of the year. You know what I mean? But if you don't want to read just a massive, huge amount of baseball stuff and not even really that much commentary of baseball stuff, here's the baseball stuff that happened. Yeah, don't read this. I think this is a very, very small market, small audience for this, of which I am it. And probably like a few other people, but not that many. My friend Brian probably would be it, and that'd be about it. Okay, so here we have the cash-in attempt. So we have The Diary of Ellen Rimbauer by,
I don't know, some fake
lady.
person.
And this is diary based on Rose Red, which is the haunted house from the short miniseries of Stephen King had in like, was it the late 90s or something, the early 2000s, I forget.
Yeah.
Which I also watched when it came out, and I did enjoy. Again, it was 2 parts, and I thought the first part was really enjoyable, and then the second night was kind of meh. But this is not really even about that story. It's just about like the history of like how the house was like came to be, and some rich people hanging out in it, and how it eventually like got haunted and stuff. And I didn't find the story to be particularly interesting. And I feel like this person was basically like, I'll just coast off the name recognition here, and I'll get dumbasses like Sir Chonk to buy it. And it worked. So I guess well done to them. But the book is no good. Do not read that book. I haven't finished this yet.
Well, you had almost finished it. So
no, I have like 180 pages
just
left.
say that you started it and talk about what you've read.
All right, so I'm reading every single story ever written by Edgar Allan Poe, which there's a lot of them. Is
it just stories? It's not poems?
It's just the stories. It's like 960 pages, and the font on this stuff is like font 6. So like it is Jiminy jam packed.
And it's like tissue paper.
Yeah, so like he's got a lot of stuff. And this dude is weird as hell. I'm not talking about the weird that you know he's weird, like horror guy murdering stuff and throwing bodies like walls and under tables and under floorboard and stuff. Different kind of weird. He just has some crazy ideas and he don't care, and he just starts talking about them. Rubber people ricocheting off of stuff. People making up stories about flying balloons. It's so weird. And then like you see him like kind of evolve from like just writing pure nonsense out of like the joy of it, I guess. You can tell why he wasn't popular at first. He's writing just complete utter nonsense. And then he started mixing in like some horror with some other stuff. And he started doing some detective things, which are pretty cool. And then he's got actually all this satirical stuff, like tons of like literary satire, which is like really good. But like no one ever talks about, at least probably not nobody, but like I never hear anybody talk about Poe's literal satiric, oh my god, my brain doesn't work. Satirical stuff about literature. That's not what I was trying to say, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, really clever. He's like stuff making fun of like reviewers, stuff making people who do like fake research, making fun of like how people are popular even though they suck. Now if you can just change your name and become popular, like it's just all this like really kind of clever satirical stuff about the world of like writing. It's very interesting. He's like a crazy smart dude. He just also an insane alcoholic.
Also an insane alcoholic.
Yeah. Although his one novel that I read is so weird. I think I already have a separate video on that. But what I want to mention here is that it doesn't end. He just stops in the middle, and he just, well, I guess I'm done writing this, and that's it.
Gets bored.
And it's like, you were like 190 pages, and you just walked away. So there was that. All right, so here's an uplifting tale. This is very famous Night by Elie Wiesel, which you've probably heard of. If you've ever seen a World War II movie or read a book or a short story about a World War II situation from the perspective of the Jewish family or a Jewish person in the Nazi camps, this is basically that story. So if you read like Mouse, for example, it's very similar to Mouse, where like you sort of see the gradual change in things from like, oh, things are kind of getting a little sketchy. Things are kind of bad. Wait, where are we going? And then just atrocity after atrocity, like all the things they have to do to survive. So like, you probably read this kind of story a million times, but this is like, I'm not saying it's the first one, but I do think it's kind of like one of the more OG stories of this.
Also, I think it's one of the few that's like from a survivor, right?
Right. So Mouse is from the survivor's son, which is pretty close. And he does get direct interviews from his dad, which is survivor. So that's pretty good. But you're right. This is literally written by the dude who lived it, which is pretty intense. And yeah, it's what you would expect. It's really miserable and really intense. If you have never read a really detailed version of this particular event, this is a heck of a one.
Anyway.
All right, so, I read The Thicket.
Why did you read The Thicket?
What?
Why did you read this?
I was reading someone's, I don't know who, list of books that were good, and they talked about this, and it was like a Western that they said was like really like authentic and gritty, and I like those adjectives. So I tried to read the book, and also I saw that after I decided I was going to read the book, like a week later, a trailer came out for a movie that's going to have. I was like, oh Jesus! Now I'm just looking at reading this for the movie, but whatever. So I did decide I wanted to read it for the movie, and this is not terrible, but kind of disappointing. There's definitely parts that are good. Like it's a Western. It feels like an authentic kind of Western, which I like, so that's good. The characters are a little, I don't know, cookie cutter or obvious or there's some flaws in this book for sure, but it's still a mostly pretty fun Western. If you don't think too hard about the plot or the characters, I think you can really enjoy this. It feels a little rushed. Some of the that's right, there's so much exposition in this. That's right. The characters, like the main character's like, what about this? And then the side character goes blurb and like vomits out like 7 straight pages of exposition. The protagonist then goes and then there's like 7 more pages of exposition after that. So that's kind of a real problem. And the ending's kind of annoying because everything fits together just hunky dory. But like, there's definitely like the structure of a cool story in here. I just think it wasn't executed very well, which makes me kind of actually hopeful for the movie that like someone could take the bones of the story and I don't usually get that excited when people like really change a book around too much, but this one would need it. So if they could take the bones of the story and change around a bunch, you could have a pretty good story in there. But if they keep it too true to the book, it's gonna be kind of bad. Oh yeah, Dune. This was a book that I've had on my to read list for like a billion years. And finally, I was just like, damn it, why not Dune? You know, because I walk into the room of books and I decide what I'm going to read. And I've been considering Dune for 8 years. And I would just pass it up. And I was like, no more. I'm reading this damn sandy book. I'm reading it now. And it was really good. I don't think that's shocking for most people since I think it has a pretty excellent reputation. It's a pretty classic sci-fi book, pretty unique, at least from stuff that I've read. And it reads pretty fast. I was kind of concerned that it would be a really sloggy book to get through.
Because the movie is 87 hours long.
Yeah. And also the pacing of the movies in both of them are awful. But no, it's really quick. And despite like huge amounts of world building, the world building is like really authentically blended into the story, which is super hard to do, which I love when writers can do that. It makes books so much more enjoyable. And this was an example of a dude who really knows what he's doing with that. So it was great. The main character is kind of a twat wagon. But
What did you just say? Ugh.
What?
I don't think that's safe for work.
The main character is kind of a meat bucket. Okay. But regardless, we should just leave it in there. Whatever.
We'll leave it in there.
No one cares. We're not getting... YouTube ain't defunding us. We ain't got no funding, so don't worry about that. So, yeah, it's cool. The story progresses well. I was interested. There's a lot of cool characters. There's a decent amount of side plots that work pretty effectively. And overall, I was satisfied with how it ended, which is hard. So overall, yeah, it was a really good book. Obviously, you've probably read this book if you care about it. If you like sci-fi and you've been like me, you just put it off for a billion years, go ahead and read it. It's really good. Worth mentioning, though, that the OG David Lynch movie that I watched a billion years ago, I was like, man, this movie is super weird. This book's weird. Most of the crazy, weirdest stuff that's in the movie is not in the book at all.
No, of course it's not.
David Lynch just lynched all over it, as we knew he would. That freaking guy. He can't stop himself.
I love David Lynch. Anyway.
He's a crack addict.
Then you read?
Oh, I read a lot of comics.
This is the Marvel Masterworks.
I'm a giant nerd. And sometimes I collect these Marvel Masterworks, which is old school, like late 80s, early 90s collections of like the super OG series. This is the original Hulk series, issues 1 through 6, because the first series only ran 6 issues, and the second one started in the most natural place possible, issue 102. 101? 102.
102.
I'm going to say it's 102 because it's funnier. I think it was 102.
Yeah.
So, like, they went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
We have Hulk 102,
102.
Don't we?
Yeah, which is exactly how you should number anything. So if you're ever in your house, like, oh, I have 8 forks, and I want to number them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 102, 315. Anyway, so this is the OG story of the Hulk. You probably know the story of the Hulk. He's doing some science stuff, gets hit with a nuclear bomb.
There was a gamma ray.
It's a gamma ray burst from like the bomb. I forget.
Okay.
But anyway, as you know, whenever you get hit by a massive bomb, you're gonna get superpowers. Everybody knows that. First Radioactive Man, then Hulk. Well, actually, it's first would be Hulk, and then later it'd be Radioactive Man. But still, this is fun. Then he fights the Toadman after that. Then he fights some military guys. Then he just gets all cranky and jumps around a bunch. You know, it's the Hulk. He doesn't get that diverse in his stories.
Doesn't he go from gray to green?
Yeah, he's gray in the first issues, and he's green in the rest of them. Then actually way, way later, in like the 300th, he becomes gray again. Oh. He goes back to green again, and then a new one eventually is red. But whatever.
That's a different guy.
I know, a new one I said is red.
That's Harrison Ford.
No. Harrison Ford plays him.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if you know this, but the Red Hulk isn't actually Harrison Ford.
Are you
I believe
sure?
It's Thunderbolt Ross, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But also what I love about Harrison Ford, the side note, is if you ever watch his interviews, like, he hates every movie he's in. And it's absolutely hilarious. Sending him off on the PR tour, it seems like a terrible idea. But it's almost endearing in how disinterested and how much he mocks every movie he's in.
This movie really sucked. I guess go see it. Yeah.
It's just great. I love it.
Yeah, I love it. What the hell was the K-19?
K-19, the Widowmaker?
That was the worst one. If you can ever dig this up on YouTube, I forget what, it was on a talk show, and he's doing K-19, and he's making fun of his own bad Russian accent, yeah. And like everybody else's bad Russian accent. He's like, what were we even doing in this movie? Like, he's like talking about how like he can't believe he even made this crappy ass movie, but like the movie's like opening that weekend,
yeah.
And he's
like, what a stupid name for a movie.
Jumping all over it. He's doing like a weird little dance to make fun of. I don't know. It was complete insanity, and it was great. It has nothing to do with the Hulk.
Okay. Well, he's read the Hulk.
Yeah. I don't read that much Hulk because Hulk doesn't get too... His stories are very... I mean, all comics tend to be redundant, I guess. But Hulk's one of the most redundant in my experience. All right. So I read Boy by Roald Dahl, which is just like an autobiography of Roald Dahl. I don't really like autobiographies that much. But it was really short. And one of my students was supposed to read it. And he was having trouble reading it. So I was like, I'll just read this real quick and then help you with it. And it was super good.
Did he end up reading it?
No.
No.
He read one chapter. I wrote dozens and dozens of questions to support him and guide his reading, and he read one chapter.
And then he just gave up.
Thanks, bro. Well, he's still not supposed to be done, but I think he pretty much gave up. So I guess enjoy. I
like Roald Dahl, so.
But yeah, this is first of all Roald Dahl. It's interesting because he kind of have a pretty dark childhood, as you can probably assume, and you can see where he gets a lot of his stuff from, which is what you kind of expect, I guess, in this kind of autobiography. But he doesn't smash you with the face with it. He just kind of tells you about the stuff, and you go, "Oh yeah, that's why this dude likes candy so much," or whatever. You know what I mean? It's really great, and his life is pretty miserable, but also very interesting. If you like autobiographies at all, and you like Roald Dahl, you should absolutely read this.
It reminds me of Angela's Ashes because it's so funny, but also so depressing. And the way it's narrated, he's just basically listen to how crappy our lives were in Ireland. But he does it in this very dry humor way. So if you've never read Angela's Ashes, you should. It's very good. Yeah. It's very depressing, but it's also strangely funny.
Does it have a lot of caning in it? Because that book
probably. It's also got a lot of people at the bar.
There's no drinking really in
it's set in Ireland, so there's a lot of
an absurd amount of caning at private schools.
Yeah.
But really bad private schools.
Yeah, obvious. Well, that was just the time. All right, and then the last one you read?
Oh, yeah, so Call of the Wild, which is a book that I thought I had read a million years ago. And I was like, how come I don't remember?
Harrison Ford's in this movie, too.
What?
He's in the new Call of the Wild movie.
There's a new Call of the Wild movie?
Yeah, it came out 2 years ago. And Harrison Ford was in it.
Okay, I didn't really realize that was the thing that happened.
Yep.
Anyway, I thought I had read this many years ago and had not. Because I couldn't remember, but so I just read a few pages, be why can't I remember this book? And I was wait, I don't remember any of this. And so I kept reading it until I discovered, damn it, I've never read this book. So I don't know what happened to make me think I read this.
Why did you read it? Is it one of your students again? Needed help?
I don't know. I don't remember why I read it.
It just near you?
Yeah. And I was just have I read this? And then it's short, so you can read it really fast, but...
You sometimes do that at school. You just pick up a book that's somebody left in your classroom, and then you're I'm going to read this book. That's how you read a bunch of things.
Didn't I read this before? And I was I don't think that I have. So zoink, so I just read it. Yeah, I loved it because, again, I love animal books. And this one, although this one does have some really sad parts because, some animals don't make it. So be forewarned. And there's some animal violence and some personal animal violence. It's a lot. There's a lot to not like. But, the good news is, there's something really graphic. It tells you what happens, but it doesn't, go into, gross detail.
Yeah.
So, you can sort of, move through it really quick. But it's a really interesting story about our boy Buck, who gets sadly kidnapped and then forced to be, on a sled team with all these huskies. They're, made for this. He's not made for it, but he's, super jacked. So, he becomes, leader of the pack anyway. And all that kind of stuff. Makes some pals. Some people are really nice to him. Some people are real jerks to him. They have some ups and downs, some downs and ups. There's sleds and mayhem, and then in the end, it all works out.
Doesn't he become a wolf?
Well, he doesn't become a wolf, but he goes and lives in the wild.
Because he's called to it.
Yes, that's the title.
That's the title.
Yeah.
All right, so that's everything you've read up through, almost the end of October. So
yeah,
he'll probably do another pop in with the 10 books, if that, he's read by the end of the year.
10 books? I ain't reading 10 more books this year. I read 2 maybe.
You might. You should do a comic book update because you read a lot of comics every month.
Not every month, but sometimes.
Well, then why are we spending a fortune every month on comic books?
Because I read them all eventually. I just don't read them all the time.
Anyway.
Big words, you buy a lot. You don't read anything.
Yeah, I can't talk. I have 8 billion books in this house.
You haven't read one in 3 years.
Oh, I don't even buy comics anymore because I can't keep up with the books I own. Never mind
you
comics.
were on Nightwing 18. I was on Nightwing 92.
Yeah.
And I was you're a little behind.
And you stopped giving me Nightwing, so
even when I catch, you weren't even reading
when I catch up on Nightwing, I'm gonna be missing a bunch
because you didn't even know Bitewing was a girl. So I was you don't know, I'm not even reading this anymore.
I didn't know Bitewing was a girl. I barely met Bitewing.
That's what I'm saying.
All right.
Anyway,
no one cares about us talking about Bitewing, but
what? That's the best part of this video.
Anyway, so we'll be back. I'm gonna do Cask of Amontillado. I tried to read it, and then it didn't record, so I have it, and I'm gonna redo it like I did with the Monkey's Paw, because apparently it's that time of year that people apparently want to just listen to somebody read their stories so they don't have to do their homework.
And in 2 months, don't forget, enjoy
our Gift of the Magi again. Well, we got to start prepping for, was it Vlogmas?
What's a Vlogmas?
Vlogmas. Isn't that what it was called?
I don't know.
Well, we did like things for like the holiday season for all of December. Remember we did something every day?
Oh, it's way too early to talk about that stuff.
It's not really.
Yeah.
We should have done a Halloween video. Maybe we will.
Well,
maybe next weekend we'll do, because it's almost Halloween, and maybe we'll do like our favorite scary things. All right.
Did we do that before?
No.
Oh, okay then.
I don't think we've ever done anything Halloween related.
Ooh.
Okay. Well, that's that.
Okay, boop. Bye and stuff.
Boop.